One of the names that I noticed that you wrestled, and how can I never bring this man up? Andre the Giant. How was he to wrestle?
Wow. Yeah, I wrestled Andre maybe two, three times, and it was television. And I remember the first time, which is another match I do have on my website from Allentown. Um, you have to take into consideration how big this guy is, being 450 pounds or whatever he was, and my hand can fit inside the palm of his hand, right? So, here I am stepping into the ring, and I said, something, I got to make myself look as good as possible. And I attacked him from the beginning in that match where he was signing autographs, and I just went to work on him. Boom, boom, I'm punching and kicking and this and that and everything. And then he comes back with a headbutt and gives me a suplex, and then just does that big leap as if he's leaping across your chest. And let me tell you something. The guy hardly touched me that whole match. That's how professional Andre was. And, of course, Andre's had many years of experience already. And was I nervous at the time? Oh, yeah, yeah. But, I had the trust in who I was working with. And I did trust Andre.
Mm. It was one of those things actually that we ended up because I've got a podcast with Don Morocco, and he mentioned the Executioners, and I think he got your name mixed up with it would have been Killer Kowalski, in fact, who teamed up with John Studd, and I was thinking there's the old what Don thinks is a fallacy that Andre hated John Studd, despite the fact they seem to work together for years. Did you ever notice anything between them as far as not getting along, or is that made up?
I've never seen anything. And in fact, I can go on to other people. I've never seen any real hatred except for Adrian Adonis and Dan Spivey.
Yeah.
That was about the only thing. But no, as far as Don and Andre, I've never ever saw anything that would
Yeah.
lead me to any you know
So,
issues against them.
so I've always got to ask: did you ever spend any time with Andre outside of the ring, maybe in a restaurant or a bar?
Well, I can tell you this. No, I can't ever remember, but I can say one night, and I can remember the town exactly, Salisbury, Maryland, where we would occasionally do a show. And I got there early that night. So I'm sitting in the dressing room, and I was the first one there, and I was still dressed. And I see a young kid bringing in a case of bottles, and he puts them over by the locker, opens them up, and I'm seeing, wow, 6, 7, or 8 bottles of champagne. I said, Andre must be here. And sure enough, here comes Andre coming in there with his suit, jacket on. And how you doing, boss? And that's what he called everybody boss. And he'd sit down and we'd start talking, and then here he goes. He's grabbing a bottle, rips that cork right off, and drinks it down like it was a shot glass. But that was my only remembrance of Andre and his drinking binges.
Do you know what? That sort of makes sense now because in the Andre documentary, they talk about him having the loudest farts of all time. And if you're having a bottle of champagne every 10 minutes, that might explain it.
Yes, yes, and I'm sure they weren't tiny bubbles.